What you see here is an Intel 14th gen system, which I just built. And no, it's not just because I wanted to stress test my CPU cooler and do a speed run to break in my PC, but it's actually because nobody wants these CPUs at the moment. And I mean literally nobody. And thanks to the law of the market, supply and demand, if nobody wants them, they're gonna go a lot cheaper. Which means I managed to buy an i7-14700KF and a very good motherboard from MSI for ridiculously cheap. And if you've been following the channel for a while, you know I like a good deal, and I will literally get whatever hardware you throw at me if it's cheap enough. So this build came about. Now there are actually quite a bit of positives if you go with an older gen Intel system, if you know what you're doing, and I actually think this could be a nice template for a high-end budget build for this period. Let's get into it. Now, first thing is gonna be that really, this thing is so cheap. It's cheaper than it would be for me to buy a Core Ultra 5 245K at the moment. And I recently done a build on the channel with a Core Ultra 5, and I think they're pretty decent CPUs, but to make them go properly, you need to spend quite a bit on RAM, because you need high-speed RAM, you need to capitalize on the unlocked chipset of Z890 to actually get proper performance out of those. Now, they have just released a few updates, and the scheduler in Windows is running better, so the new LGA 1851 CPUs are already running quite a lot better than the initial reviews you've seen on the internet. And if you get good RAM on them, they will beat the older gen Intel stuff. They of course are far from AMD X3D chips, but they're pretty decent. Again, you need to spend on the RAM, the motherboard is more expensive, and the CPU itself costs more than this i7. So from a value perspective, this thing is pretty good. But the reason I bought it is I paid cheaper than you would buy a Ryzen 7 9000, and I'm not talking about the X3D $600, 9800 X3D. I'm talking about a Ryzen 7 9700X. So this thing, you can buy it right now for under $300 for the CPU, and the motherboard you can get one for under $200, and I'm talking brand new. If you go in the used market, you can subtract $100 to the price, and I mean, if you're buying it brand new, you know it has not been run improperly so far, and that means CPU is probably not gonna break on you. You need to get a good build around it. So here's what I did, okay? You need a good cooler to keep it under wraps. Then you will need to go in the BIOS and apply my fix for Intel CPUs. If you just put the new microcode, it's gonna be fine, but I would recommend also undervolting it to be extra safe and keep it under control. Again, I have videos on the channel on how to fix the Intel issue, the microcode issue, and I also have videos for the undervolt of the i7-4700KF specifically. Good cooler, which is why I got this Sharkoon S90, and now Sharkoon has been doing a comeback lately. I mean, take a look at this cooler. So it comes in at right around the $100 price point, which is not bad. It's fully white, all the fans are daisy chainable, and they give you quite a lot of accessories in the box. But the cool part comes when you install it. So now take a look at it in the PC running with the RGB on. It is fully prismatic, the water block. It's the prettiest water block I've seen this year, and I've tried every single CPU cooler on the market. On video, it doesn't quite look as good as it does in person. You can just see the RGB filter through the prismatic sides. And they also got a nice infinity mirror in there. You can rotate the logo to adjust it, and it also has RGB on the outside. So aesthetically, it's very good. Something which I try to do for aesthetics is I try to keep all the fans in my PC from the same brand. They're easier to synchronize and just makes the whole thing better. Even better if the pump is from the same brand of the fans. So I've gotten also Sharkoon case. Now this is the AK6 RGB, still in white of course, and it comes with 4 included RGB fans. It's a pretty good case, fully white cables in the back, and it comes with an integrated RGB controller where I connected also the only one. So it's all controllable via the button on the case, but also just via the motherboard software, pretty easy. Now, what surprised me is, first of all, they give you a GPU anti-sag stand included and a lot of accessories, but the case is really, really modular. So you can not only take off the side glass, but also the front glass, and they're all toolless. Even the back panel, no screws. You just take it off and it comes off. You can also take off the bottom PSU shroud, which is pretty convenient in case you have a white PSU, want to show it, or quite simply in case you want to get your hand in there to do something. And I think more cases should start to implement this. I know it's extra cost in the production department, but I think it's worth it. Now, another place where I saved some money for this build is the power supply. So I just got a non-ATX 3.0 compatible iTech PSU. iTech does pretty decent power supplies nowadays, and they are really cheap because, again, just like the Intel platform, nobody wants a non-ATX 3.0 PSU, because then you need this ugly adapter, which, let's face it, it's really ugly, but hey, you save some money. You can always buy a sleeved cable later on if you want. I would do it personally. And now to complete the build with another component which people probably don't want, I saw this GPU for sale for like very cheap. I'm talking a bit less than $800, and it's an RTX 4070 Ti Super from PNY. And now PNY, I made a dedicated video reviewing the brand because I think there's a lot of misconceptions, also because they made really bad cards back in the day, so the misconception is actually accurate. But this is pretty decent, and again, I'm not sponsored, I bought this. I have to say, like, it looks very white and very cool in the picture. You get it, it's actually a bit yellowish on the bottom, so I'm not sure what's going on there with the paint, but the backplate is good. NVIDIA nowadays forces their partners to do specific things with the PCB, so you know the PCB is good. It's also why VGA left NVIDIA, well, it's complicated matter. And the 4070 Ti Super itself as a card is a card I like a lot, because I like the 4070 Ti non-super when it came out, but the Ti Super, they give you 4 extra gigabytes of VRAM, so they give you 16, making it a bit better for high resolution gaming, and you still keep the dual encoder, which is the same as the 4090, which makes it go a lot better for streaming, recording, content creation than other GPUs with a single encoder, like for example an RTX 3080 or even a 4070 Super is a lot slower due to not having the dual encoder. It's a really handy feature if you are doing anything else other than just gaming. So this is how the PC came out. After all that, with all components which people didn't want, and it actually came out pretty cheap. I mean, try to guess the price, but it's right around the $1,500 mark. I don't think it's bad at all for what we're getting. I mean, in my opinion, close to high-end performance for a mid-range price, because nowadays, unfortunately, PCs are kind of expensive on the new side. And let me know if you like how it looks, but you probably want to know about performance and cooling. So for cooling, well, I was surprised by how good this cooler is. I will just show you the Prime 95 benchmark. As you can see, it's staying cold. CPU is performing nicely. I ran a quick CPU Z test, and then for the whole system, I just ran a quick Firestrike to give you a synthetic performance. I know some of you guys want me to switch my tests to TimeSpy, but I prefer Firestrike because you can go back in my older videos and compare it to my other builds and see how it stacks up. But let me know if you want me to change tests. Anyways, this is a PC which is of course a bit wasted for 1080p because the 4070 Ti Super is so powerful, but the CPU is there to match it. So if you want to play like CSGO at like an insane high FPS, like over 500 FPS 1080p, you can do it. Of course, Fortnite 1080p, you're looking at around close to 500 FPS in competitive settings. You can also play on Ultra with ray tracing on, but really, for most games, this is wasted performance for 1080p. You're gonna max out Apex Legends engine at 300 FPS. For Warzone, it's pretty good. We're doing just locked 240 FPS, we're doing a bit over that, but I think this is a 1440p build. Since you have the extra VRAM, you have the very strong GPU. For 1440p, you're looking at a very strong contender. 1440p high refresh rate or very intensive single player games. This is what you should be aiming at. And you probably know already that you should be getting this kind of GPU for that price. You're probably thinking about 4070 Super versus this versus the RTX 3090 used, which I made a video about recently. And I think this is the best value choice, brand new, of course. So to conclude, I think it was a pretty good idea to get the i7 instead of a Core Ultra 5 or a Ryzen 7 because it was a bit cheaper and it's really fast CPU. If you prevent it from destroying itself, it's also a pretty safe choice, if you ask me. But I want to hear what you guys think down below in the comments, so please let me know if you would have changed anything, if you think I made a big mistake going Intel, and if you would have done the same for the price. Also, if you watched the video this far, maybe drop a like and a sub for more PC building content, and I hope to see you guys again in a different video. Bye bye.